Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into some potential changes to Social Security. And yeah, this could be a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking millions potentially impacted.
Millions.
And we're going to break it all down, right?
Yep.
So we're looking at stricter disability reviews, tougher documentation requirements, all based on this recent report that came out outlining these proposed changes from the Trump administration.
Right.
So like always, we're going to go deep. We want to make sure you're in the know and can understand how this might affect you or, someone you know.
Yeah, you and your family.
Exactly. Before we get started, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with anyone who might be affected by these potential changes. Okay, so let's unpack this. The heart of it seems to be these disability reviews.
Right.
What's the deal there?
Well, the core of these proposed changes is increasing how often disability reviews happen for people getting SSDI. So that's Social Security Disability Insurance, right, for people who've worked.
Yeah, SSDI.
And SSI, which is the needs-based Supplemental Security Income.
Got it. Okay.
And the administration is saying this is going to, help reduce fraud and make sure people are still eligible.
Okay, so more reviews more often. But what does that actually mean for someone who's relying on these benefits, in their daily life?
Well, yeah. So, in the past, you might have reviews every 5 to 7 years for, conditions that are pretty stable. But we could start seeing those reviews happening a lot more often, maybe like every 2 to 3 years even.
Oh.
And that kind of, scrutiny can really cause a lot of anxiety. Like, think about the bureaucratic hurdles for people with chronic disabilities, permanent disabilities, who are now going to have to prove again and again that their condition hasn't gotten any better. And Sarah Jenkins from Center for Social Welfare Advocacy really hit the nail on the head when she said it's an unfair burden on people who are already struggling.
Absolutely. It's a huge ask. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're finding this information valuable. We appreciate your support. So we've talked about keeping benefits, but getting them in the first place is another issue, right? And the report mentions tougher documentation requirements for new applications. What's the story there?
Yeah. So the idea is to make it, to have more proof to qualify. Mm-hmm. But, think about it. If you have limited access to regular medical care or it's hard to handle all that paperwork, these stricter rules, that's a big obstacle.
Absolutely.
And experts are worried, Mm-hmm. This could lead to people who actually qualify getting denied just because they can't get all the paperwork together.
Right. So if you're already dealing with limited resources or complicated medical issues, these changes could make a tough situation even tougher. This is important stuff, guys. If you're finding this deep dive helpful, please share it. Your support means a lot. So, who else could be seriously affected by these changes?
Well, when you zoom out a bit, Social Security is a safety net.
Yeah.
Especially for seniors, people with low incomes, people with disabilities. So making it harder to get or keep these benefits could really push people who are already struggling closer to poverty. It could even push them deeper into poverty. And this is bigger than just individual cases, right? This has implications for society as a whole.
That's a really good point. And we're not just talking about potential problems down the line. There's already pushback against these proposals. What kind of reaction are we seeing?
Oh, there's been a lot of criticism. Lawmakers, advocacy groups, they're not happy. Democratic leaders in Congress in particular have come out and said they're going to fight these changes. They say it goes against what Social Security is all about. Yeah.
They see it as making it way harder for the people who need help the most to actually get that help.
Okay, so there's resistance. Could this turn into something more than just strong words? Are we looking at potential legal battles here?
Oh, absolutely. Legal experts are saying there will probably be lawsuits, especially if people think they were unfairly denied benefits because of these new, stricter rules. Advocacy groups are already looking at their legal options, so this could very well end up in court.
So we're looking at a pretty uncertain situation here. What's your take on where all this might be headed?
Honestly, it's a waiting game at this point. There are more discussions to be had, maybe even congressional hearings. And like we said, the chance of legal action is pretty high. So for anyone who relies on Social Security or might need it in the future, this is something to keep an eye on, for sure. And for those of you tuning in, thanks for sticking with us. It's important to understand these complex issues. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our deep dives. So let's break it down one last time. The bottom line for everyone listening is that these proposed changes to disability reviews and documentation could create a lot of new obstacles for millions of people trying to access Social Security benefits.
Yeah, that's the key takeaway here. We're talking about potential roadblocks to a safety net that so many people rely on.
And this brings us to our final thought for the day. Something to think about. If it becomes harder for vulnerable populations to get Social Security benefits, what does that mean for society as a whole? What's our responsibility as a society to make sure there's a strong safety net for everyone? It's a big question, and it's one worth thinking about seriously. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.